Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me today. It's Jen from Tarot Spirit, and today I'm going to do a reading for June 2015. This year has flown by. It's unbelievable. So I really feel that June is going to mark a new beginning for us on some level. I'm sort of feeling like I have some book that described one of the cards, and I don't even remember which card, but as there being some sort of divine discontent, just sort of this. It doesn't mean that something's specifically wrong, but just there's something deep inside us that isn't quite happy with the way something is going, and it isn't obvious. It isn't bad. It's just not what we deep down want. So we'll keep that in mind. I'm using the Silver Witchcraft Tarot by Barbara Moore, and I'm going to do one of a modified Celtic cross. So the focus, something else influencing our focus, the foundation of the issue, the recent past, what we want most, the near future, and a couple of outcome cards. So the Ace of Swords is at the bottom of the deck. The Ace of Swords is about a new thought process, a new way of thinking about things and looking at things, a new idea. So we'll keep that in mind as well as we go. But, the new, as I said, I feel like a new beginnings, and aces are always new beginnings. So, okay, the focus card is the High Priestess. So I'm sorry, there's always a glare. So the High Priestess comes up when we need to trust our intuition. I always say, if you get that feeling when you just feel like something's not right, or maybe someone's not telling the whole truth. You just kind of that gut feeling where I said I feel like June's going to be about new beginnings. Just trusting yourself. Trust in yourself and how you feel and view and think about things. And honor yourself. Honor those thoughts. Okay? They're valid. You're valid. Your thoughts and feelings and gut instinct have meaning, and you need to listen and trust yourself and trust those. Trust your feelings. If something doesn't feel right, trust that. If something does feel right, trust that, even if people are being negative. It goes both ways. So keep your own counsel. I think I said that recently. And kind of just ruminate and let things marinate and digest things in your own time internally. Just sit with things for a while, and whatever comes up, trust your gut. Another card influencing the situation is the Ten of Wands. So this card is about being overburdened. And I don't think it's really feeling overburdened. I think you literally are overburdened. And you need to speak up for yourself, try to delegate, or move on from something entirely if you can't find a solution. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And this can be in absolutely any part of your life. You know, it could be at home. You may need to ask someone in the home to step up, maybe. And it may be something you created all on your own. Maybe you always just do everything because it's easier, but you may not need to have a conversation. You may need to talk to your boss at work. You may need to prioritize things and let go of some things because, you know, we can't do it all, and it's unrealistic to think that you can do it all. So a foundation that's influencing this situation is the Seven of Pentacles. So the Seven of Pentacles is the card that reminds us that things in life are often a process, and that process is going to take as long as it needs to take. And no hoping or wishing or nagging or being antsy and impatient or trying to force things will make it happen any faster. And so it asks us to have patience and acceptance of certain situations. I always like to share, this card came up when I asked about my son, and I was reflecting on it, and I realized, you know, he's a little boy, and he's not supposed to act mature because he's not mature, and it takes as long as it takes, you know. I mean, certainly no one's mature at 18 that I know of. Well, a few people, but so to try to force him to be anything other than the age he is ridiculous. And to just, and it wasn't like I was pushing him, but it's like it's just like, chill out, relax. It just is, and just accepting what is so. So the recent past is the Seven of Wands. So we've recently had to defend ourselves. So if you think of the wands are cards of passion and creativity and work and things that we're fired up about, that we are excited about. And you can look at this as work, a relationship, anything. You know, we start off with the Ace of Wands. Our passion is ignited, and it's this explosive energy. We're just bursting out of the starting gate, and we can't wait to start this project or start this relationship. Is so exciting, and it's all consuming. You know, fire just consumes everything. It doesn't discriminate. And then as we go through the Wands cards, we have to deal with things that attempt to dampen our enthusiasm. The Seven of Wands tells you to defend yourself. Defend whatever's going on right now. It's saying that the right thing to do is to defend yourself, that this isn't something made up in your mind. You know, this isn't a sword card where you're overthinking or creating things. That it's okay to stand up for yourself. It doesn't tell you what the outcome's going to be, and maybe we'll see that here. But it's okay to defend yourself and stand up for yourself sometimes. And that energy is just passing, where we've had to stand up for ourselves and defend ourselves, regardless of what the fallout, the outcome may be. So be proud of yourself if you've stood up for yourself recently. What we want most, these cards are always interesting when they come out, not like this, but we want the Ten of Cups. So we had this as our fading influence recently. So we want that back. This is the happy family card. There's a rainbow, there's the moon. We're feeling emotionally. I think there are some stars in the sky. I heard recently someone cautioned about this card as, the perfect family, that's not attainable. But I think we all know, and I think that's a really good caution of this card, so I'm not disagreeing with that. But I think we all know that things aren't perfect, but we want this feeling of emotional security and support. Why not, right? So I feel like we're not quite feeling emotionally secure, and that's why this is coming up, because we've had to defend ourselves. We know with this high priestess, we know in our gut that something isn't right. We know it, and we've defended ourselves, and we just want to feel good again. And I think maybe we've been patient for a long time, and we've been trying to be patient, and we have been, but there is a point where, for example, the classic example of this card is a farmer who plants his fields, and he has to wait for them to grow. You can't sit there and beg a corn plant to, grow. It's going to grow in the time it takes for it to grow. Now, if you're sitting there and all the other corn's growing except for one stalk, there is a point where you have to assume that the seed rotted in the ground or something got to it and it isn't going to grow, and move on. So the near future, the Nine of Cups. So this reinforces to me that standing up for ourselves, as long as we do it in a constructive way. Sorry, I was distracted by a squirrel. As long as we've done it in a constructive way, we're going to, at least, regardless of the outcome, we're going to feel good about it. We have to focus, I think, not focus so much on the exact outcome, but rewarding ourselves for being true to ourselves and allowing ourselves to feel good because of that, regardless of the outcome, because we cannot control everything. So take some time to give yourself a pat on the back and bask in a good feeling that, you know what, I did the right thing, regardless. So sort of the overall outcome and feeling of June is the Six of Swords, wow, and the Queen of Cups. So I think this month that holds the summer solstice is going to be a new beginning, a month of change for us. So the Six of Swords is moving away from mental confusion. It can literally be, moving, moving out of a difficult situation into a calmer situation, a better situation, even though this is a swords card. See all the water in the background, and it's always usually a boat on water. So it is about emotions, even though it's a sword card. So either you've been able to put thoughts in your mind, organize your thoughts in such a way that you've made peace with the situation, or you can literally be moving away from something. So you could be changing jobs, you could be changing relationships, you could be changing where you live. You could just be an internal thing, internal change, which I think on some level it is because of the High Priestess. Mentally changing your outlook, and you will find things better emotionally. Whoops, excuse me. So the Queen of Cups is the queen of emotional maturity. She honors her feelings, but she doesn't let her feelings control her. So she matches very well with the High Priestess, actually. I think this is almost, a High Priestess is almost the, the Empress is maybe more the Queen of Pentacles. I think the High Priestess can be seen as a similar energy to the Queen of Cups. You know, I think the High Priestess, if you think of her, think of all the different suits. So she goes with her gut, with what she thinks, what she feels in her heart, how she creates things, you know, how she's grounded. She sort of takes all those different elements and kind of processes them and figures out what, you know, is right in her gut, what all that information, how all that information, you know, feels, and what her intuition says is right about any of those situations. So with the Queen of Cups in the outcome position with the Six of Swords, we're going to feel better emotionally, and that's what we wanted here, right? Or 10 of Cups, that's really what we wanted. But it's going to take some internal soul searching and really going with our gut and kind of just taking all the information that we have and then going with what just deep down inside, what we need to do to be true to ourselves. So I hope in June you really take some time to sit with the High Priestess and let her guide you to make some decisions. You know, you need to unburden yourself in some way. And that unburdening is going to allow you to let go of some things that were bringing you down emotionally. Yeah, so I think June's going to be, I think we're going to end June on a feeling much better. We're going to feel much better about things emotionally. So thank you so much for stopping by and watching today and supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. I just love tarot cards and sharing this with you. And thank you for giving me that opportunity. I hope you have a wonderful June, and I'll see you soon for the next reading. Thank you so much. Bye.